like the kind who wear a tie. Button up from 9 to 5. I tried that life but said goodbye. I'm not always polite, but I get the job done. Who says this world can never be fun? I'm simply unprofessional. Simply unprofessional.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Unprofessional. I'm your host, Webby. Join me tonight. We got Rob.
Hey, guys, it's Rob.
And we got Devin.
Hey, it's me. It's Devin. How's it going, Pete?
So, this week is going to be part 2. We're going to cover the rest of the monk traditions in D&D 5e and go ahead and give those some ratings. If you're just tuning in and you didn't listen to last week's episode, we covered the first half of the traditions, so feel free to go
Quit
back.
being a bitch and go listen.
Yeah, go listen.
Listen.
I will give a little recap rundown. Way of Mercy, we gave an A. Way of Shadow, we gave a B+. Way of the Ascended Dragon, we gave a B+. Way of the Astral Self, we gave a B+. Way of the Cobalt Soul, we gave a B-, and Way of the Drunken Master, we ended up giving a B, collectively. So, this week, I want to start by saying Rob got me some dope-ass shit in the mail today.
I did.
He got me with our new logo, a Simply Unprofessional shirt and Flex Fit hat. And Rob, tell everybody where they can go if they want some merch, some nifty, Simply Unprofessional swag.
You can go to the Distractions Media merch store. I don't know the actual website to go straight there, but if you go to distractionsmedia.com, you can go to the link for our merch store from there. Or on the Distractions Media Discord, there's also a link.
Yeah. Feel free to go get a Simply Unprofessional hat.
I'm so proud of us.
Yeah.
I got Matilda Simply Unprofessional dog bandana because they had those too.
Which she's not allowed to wear outside because she's just going to drag her through the mud because I know she hates me. All right.
I don't have any Simply Unprofessional merch.
What's that?
I don't have any Simply Unprofessional merch.
You're going to have to change that, Devin.
I know I got to buy something, but right now, Devin, poor boy.
Devin, poor boy, I'm going to get Devin a hat. Does Devin want a Flex Fit hat?
Devin always wants Flex Fit hats.
All right. I'll work on it. I'll have to go through the SU lawyers.
All right. We'll figure it out.
All right. So this week we're going to be starting with the Way of the Four Elements.
The best class that the monks have ever had.
Lies. What?
Yeah.
We made predictions.
Possibly the worst. We did. I say the Sun Soul is going to be the worst one. You say this one's going to be the worst one.
Yeah.
Are you going to?
I'll read this one. I'll read this one. So first thing you get Disciple of the Elements. When you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you learn magical disciplines that harness the power of the 4 elements. A discipline requires you to spend key points each time you use it. You know the Elemental Attunement discipline and one other elemental discipline of your choice, which are detailed in the Elemental Discipline section below. You learn one additional elemental discipline of your choice at 6th, 11th, and 17th levels. So, whenever you learn a new elemental discipline, you can also replace one elemental discipline that you already know with a different discipline. Casting elemental spells. Some elemental disciplines allow you to cast spells. See the spellcasting section for the general rules of the spellcasting. To cast one of these spells, use its casting time and other rules, but you don't need to provide material components for it. Once you reach 5th level in this class, you can spend additional key points to increase the level of the elemental discipline spell that you cast, provided that the spell has an enhanced effect at a higher level, such as Burning Hands. Essentially, just look for the little at higher levels and see if it has anything. The spell's level increases by 1 for each additional key point you spend. For example, if you are a 5th level monk and use Sweeping Cinder Strike to cast Burning Hands, you can spend 3 key points to cast it as a 2nd level spell. The discipline's base cost of 2 key points plus 1. The maximum number of key points you can spend to cast a spell in this way, including its base key point cost and any additional key points that you spend to increase its level. What is that noise?
So like Rob was like trying to get the last of a Slurpee.
Is determined by your monk level shown as the spells and key points table. So essentially, from 5th to 8th, you can spend 3 key points to utilize this function. 9th to 12th, you can spend 4. 13th to 16th, 5. And 17th to 20th, 6.
So basically, this is spend your key points and be a worse wizard.
Yeah. Elemental disciplines. The elemental disciplines are presented in alphabetical order. If a discipline requires a level, you must be that level in this class to earn that discipline. Breath of Winter. You can spend 6 key points to cast Cone of Cold. 17th level is required. Clunch of the North Wind. You can spend 3 key points to cast Hold Person. 6th level required. Elemental Attunement. I think this is what you start off with. You can use your action to briefly control elemental forces within 30 feet of you, causing one of the following effects of your choice. Create a harmless, instantaneous sensory effect related to air, earth, fire, or water, such as a shower of sparks, a puff of wind, a spray of light mist, or a gentle rumbling of stone.
Or September by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Instantaneously light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire. Chill or warm up 1 pound of non-living material for up to 1 hour. Cause earth, fire, water, or mist that can fit within 1 foot cube to shape itself into a crude form that you designate for 1 minute. So this is essentially just that cantrip.
It's a less useful prestidigitation is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a prestidigitation, thaumaturgy all rolled into 1, but it's still less useful than either one of those spells.
Eternal Mountain Defense. You can spend 5 key points to cast Stone Skin, targeting yourself. 17th level is required. Fangs of the Fire Snake. When you use the attack action on your turn, you can spend 1 key point to cause tendrils of flame to stretch out from your fists and feet. Your reach with your unarmed strikes increases by 10 feet for that action, as well as the rest of the turn. A hit with such an attack deals fire damage instead of bludgeoning damage, and if you spend 1 key point when the attack hits, it also deals an additional 1d10 fire damage. Fist of Four Thunders. You can spend 2 key points to cast Thunderwave. Fist of Unbroken Air. You can create a blast of compressed air that strikes like a mighty fist. As an action, you can spend 2 key points and choose a creature within 30 feet of you. That creature must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d10 bludgeoning damage plus an extra 1d10 bludgeoning damage for each additional key point you spend. And you can push that creature up to 20 feet away from you and knock it prone. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and you don't push it or knock it prone. So that's a lot like in those kung fu movies where you see somebody like strike the air and then it just reverberates the air into the, and then it impacts the enemy. It's essentially that. Flames of the Phoenix. You can cast 4 key points to cast Fireball. 11th level required. Gong of the Summit. You can spend 3 key points to cast Shatter. 6th level required. Mist Stance. You can spend 4 key points to cast Gaseous Form, targeting yourself. 11th level required. Ride the Wind. You can spend 4 key points to cast Fly, targeting yourself. 11th level required. River of Hungry Flame. You can spend 5 key points to cast Wall of Fire. 17th level required. Rush of the Gale Spirits. You can spend 2 key points to cast Gust of Wind. Shape the flowing river. As an action, you can spend 1 key point to choose an area of ice or water no larger than 30 feet on a side within 120 feet of you. You can change water to ice within the area and vice versa. You can reshape ice in the areas in any manner you choose. You can raise or lower the ice elevation, create or fill in a trench, erect a flattened wall, or form a pillar. The extent of any such changes can't exceed half the area's largest dimension. For example, if you affect a 30-foot square, then you can create a pillar up to 15 feet high, raise or lower the square's elevation by up to 15 feet, dig a trench up to 15 feet deep, so on. You can't shape the ice to trap or damage a creature in the area. Okay, that does not have a level requirement. Just a couple more. Sweeping Cinder Strike. You can spend 2 key points to cast Burning Hands. Water Whip. You can spend 2 key points as an action to create a whip of water that shoves and pulls a creature to unbalance it. A creature that you can see that is within 30 feet of you must make a dex saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d10 bludgeoning damage, plus an extra 1d10 bludgeoning damage for each additional key point that you spend. And you can either knock it prone or pull it 25 feet closer to you. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage, and you don't pull it or knock it prone. Finally, Wave of Rolling Earth. You can spend 6 key points to cast Wall of Stone. Requires 17th level. So that's all the stuff for the 4 elements. All of this stuff seems like really less useful other spells. The spells that you would deem useful, like Fireball, you have to wait until 11th level to be able to even do that. Granted, by the time you do that, you can dump additional key points into it and, extend the level or heighten the level at which you're casting it. What are you laughing about?
Because you said you can do that, and then you said you could dump it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's it. Episode's over.
I'm just Webby,
it's been fun. Webby, it's been fun. Episode's over. You have a good night, sir.
God damn it. Alright, so Rob, let's start with you since you're being all giggly. What do you rate this and why?
I rated a big old doo-doo. I would give it like a C-. Because it wastes a bunch of your key points that you could use for other shit. But then it gives you spells that people have already had for several levels.
Yeah. Alright, Devin, what about you?
I'm going to give it a C for the same reasons. I'm only giving it a C over a C- because it gives me like Avatar: The Last Airbender vibes, and I fucks with it, but it's still a really shitty class.
I do appreciate that it does give those Avatar: Last Airbender vibes, like you said, especially the what is it? The water whip.
Yeah, the water whip.
That's not going to be a saving grace for me, man. I'm giving this a D. A big old fucking dumper.
You're making me fucking new math now. Goddamn it, baby. All right, hold on a second.
A C, a C-, and a D.
Yeah, I know. I think it's gonna be a D, like a D plus. But let me see. Hold on. C, D, D plus, C-, C. So you cross out the C and D. So between a D plus and a C-. So Rob, you had to pick a C- or a D plus. You picked one. I guess it goes to me. I'm the tiebreaker. I picked C, so I would go with probably closer to a C- for me personally. So I would say C-.
All right.
You gave it a D, right?
I sure did. I'm going to rate it overall as a C-, but I'm also putting in parentheses a D.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, or you know what? I would say we'll give it a D plus because if you take mine out, the D plus is the average of you and Rob, so we go with D plus.
All right,
so
D plus it is.
D plus. Yeah, it's not it's you are It's getting into the phase of if you pick this, you're actively trying to fuck your group, or you're just bored and you played everything and you probably should just be like doing something else.
Yeah. Now,
Like-
don't get me wrong. Like, if you're a first time player and you have your heart
This-
set on playing a
fine.
monk,
This is fine.
yeah, you might pick this and be like, oh, well, I can cast spells too, blah blah blah. But that's if you don't know
Anything
about
else
like
about the game.
wizards or sorcerers that could do all of that same stuff but better.
I've met clerics that are better wizards
Yeah.
than this. An arcane cleric is nothing to scoff at.
Rob is currently letting Matilda out, so why don't you go through and read off the Way of the Kensei? I know you actually introduced me to this one, and
I actually do particularly like this class. I particularly like this class a lot. If you're doing like dual classing, but that's a separate issue for another day. Path of the Kensei. When you choose this tradition at their level, your special martial arts training leads you to master the use of certain weapons. The path also includes instructions in the deft stroke of calligraphy and painting. You gain the following benefits. You get a Kensei weapons. Choose 2 types of weapons to be your Kensei weapons, 1 melee weapon and 1 ranged weapon. Each of these weapons can be any simple or martial weapon that lack the heavy and specialty properties. The longbow is also a valid choice. You gain proficiency with these weapons if you don't already have it. Weapons of the chosen type are monk weapons for you, and many of this tradition's features only work with your Kensei weapon when you reach 6th, 11th, and 17th level in this class. You can choose another type of weapon, either melee or ranged, to be a Kensei weapon for you, following the criteria above. You also gain access to Agile Parry. If you make an unarmed strike as part of the attack action on your turn and are holding a Kensei weapon, you can use it to defend yourself. If it is a melee weapon, you gain a +2 bonus to AC until the start of your next turn, while the weapon is in your hand and you aren't incapacitated. Kensei Shot. You can use a bonus action on your turn to make your range attacks with a Kensei weapon more deadly. When you do so, any target you hit with a ranged attack using a Kensei weapon takes an extra 1d4 damage of the weapon's type. You retain this benefit until the end of the current turn. Way of the Brush, you gain proficiency with your choice of calligrapher supplies or painter supplies. At 6th level, you gain a 1 with the blade. At 6th level, you extend your key into your Kensei weapon, granting you the following benefits. Magic Kensei weapon. Your attacks with your Kensei weapon count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. You also gain Death Strike. When you hit a target with a Kensei weapon, you can spend 1 key point to cause the weapon to deal extra damage to the target equal to your martial arts dice. You can use this feature only once on each of your turns. At level 11, you get Sharpen the Blade. At 11th level, you gain the ability to augment your weapons further with your key. As a bonus action, you can expend up to 3 key points to grant 1 Kensei weapon you touch a bonus to attack and damage rolls. When you attack with it, the bonus equals the number of key points you spent. The bonus lasts for 1 minute or until you use this feature again. This feature has no effect on a magic weapon that already has a bonus to attack and damage rolls. And then you get level 17, you get Unerring Accuracy. At 17th level, your Mastery of Weapons grants you extraordinary accuracy. If you miss with an attack roll using a monk weapon on your turn, you can re-roll it. You can use this feature only once on each of your turns. And yeah.
So that last one's kind of like having like a luck once per turn.
Yeah. And it costs you nothing, which is kind of nice. It's just a free luck on any attack roll, and you just don't have to pay anything towards it. You just get it.
I also like this because it broadens what weapons a monk can use.
Yeah, I mean, and this is like the traditional, like, I'm gonna like make fun of, but this is very like the anime swordsman.
Right.
This is very much like the anime swordsman. And I mean, I overall really like this class. It's kind of a hard class to, like, I guess, place, because people want to, like, looking at it and looking at the stuff that you can do with, 3D printing and all the other stuff that people make in real life. It makes you want to, like, almost makes you want to, like, in a weird way, like, LARP this class. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I can see people,
it
like,
works really well too with the agile parry, because if you're the type of monk too, where like you're running up and you're taking your attack action, and then bonus action to do an offhand attack,
right,
and then you take your second
and then
attack
also
action.
too, it's one of the only classes, like, the Kensei Shot is dope as shit if you're making a range character, because you give up your attacks, so your attacks are tied to your bonus action, your flurry of blows tied to your bonus action. However, you do have a way of giving up using a bonus action and you're getting a 1d4 damage to all of your attacks
for
without
that round. Yeah.
all your attacks for that round without any additional expenditures.
Right.
So, like for instance, if you're a fighter, that's why I said this class is actually really awesome if you like dual class it, because you could be like a fighter, for instance, who's specifically designed to like you could be a fighter or be an archer, and you can spend your bonus action. And it's like, well, it sucks, I can't use my flurry of blows, but you're also still like a full fighter, so you have a full like 4 attacks every turn, but you get an extra 1d4 in damage, and that adds up after a while, along with other stuff. And I mean, so this is actually like one of my. This is another class that I think is kind of similar to the Astral Self, where it's a super fun class to play, but I think the enjoyment you get out of this class is 100% depending on your own RP.
Yeah.
I don't think the class itself doesn't add anything that makes you like want to like role play and makes you want to like invest in the class. You need to like write the story for this class yourself, and I think after a while that gets kind of like that's just me though.
Yeah. All right. Well, Rob, I know you were letting Matilda out when Devin was reading through some of this, but I'm assuming you've read over it.
Mm-hmm.
What would you give this for a score? This particular class or tradition, I guess.
I would go. I'd say probably B plus.
Okay, B plus. Devin, what about you?
I'm in the same boat. B plus.
I mean, yeah, I'll do the same.
Yeah, I mean, for a reason, and if we want a reason for it, for me, I can see this class anywhere between B and B plus. The only reason why I went with the B plus is because I do feel, in combat, this is one of the stronger classes. But I also could understand if you went like B minus or B, because, like I said, the class itself doesn't really go the distance when it comes to providing like excitement for the class.
Right.
You have to kind of provide that yourself.
Yeah, I can definitely. Yeah, I understand that. All right, moving on. Next, we have Way of the Open Hand. Rob, do you want to read that one?
Sure. Way of the Open Hand. Open hand technique. Starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can manipulate your enemy's ki when you harness your own. Whenever you hit a creature with one of the attacks granted by your flurry of blows, you can impose one of the following effects on the target. It must make a dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone. It must make a strength saving throw. If it fails, you can push it up to 15 feet away. It can't take reactions until the end of your next turn. Wholeness of body. At 6th level, you gain the ability to heal yourself. As an action, you can regenerate. You can regain hit points equal to 3 times your monk level. You must finish a long rest before you can use this feature again. Tranquility. Beginning at 11th level, you can enter a special meditation that surrounds you with an aura of peace. At the end of a long rest, you gain the effective sanctuary spell that lasts until the start of your next long rest. The spell can end early, as normal. The saving throw for this spell equals 8 plus your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus. Quivering Palm. At 17th level, you gain the ability to set up lethal vibrations in someone's body. When you hit a creature with an unarmed strike, you can spend 3 key points to start these imperceptible vibrations, which last for a number of days equal to your monk level. The vibrations are harmless unless you use your action to end them. To do so, you and the target must be on the same plane of existence. When you use this action, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, it is reduced to 0 hit points. If it succeeds, it takes 10d10 necrotic damage. You can only have one creature under the effects of this feature at a time. You can choose to end the vibrations harmlessly without using an action.
Damn. All right, there is more into this than I thought there was. This is actually kind of a good tradition in my opinion. Even like your third level option, whenever you use your flurry of blows, you can impose one of those following effects. One of those is you can just make it so they don't take reactions. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna flurry of blows, and then they can't take reactions, and then you just boot, scoot, and boogie out of danger. You just slide to the right. By the time you get wholeness of body at 6th level, that's already 18 that you can heal yourself once per long rest. I mean, that's nothing to scoff at, man. I mean, sometimes when you're, when you only have like less than 50 max health, or if you have around 50 max HP, I mean, you're looking at 18's like a good chunk of that. Not half, but obviously, but it's like a quarter. Tranquility, I mean, that's useful for everybody who is knowledgeable about the sanctuary spell and who uses it a lot. But at the same time, you're a monk. You're going to be making attacks, so that is good essentially until you're in combat, and then it's probably quickly going to fall off. And then damn that quivering palm, that 17th level one, pretty gnarly, in my opinion. I mean, granted, it's 17th level, but still.
Yeah, that's like a make people do things kind of ability. Like, oh, I just put my quivering palm on you. I need you to get me into this place, or you know what? I might kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that kind of sucks about the quivering palm in general is that I kind of wish it was like, I feel like at 17th level it could have been almost flat damage. It could have been like disintegrate, like being like flat 100 damage or whatever. And
Well, I mean, 10d10 necrotic for a successful save is still good.
Oh, it's very good. Don't get me wrong.
And if they fail a con save, boom, automatically at 0 hit points. That's gnarly.
Yeah. Which, I mean, yeah, it is pretty bad. But like, I just feel like at 17th level, it's like with it being necrotic, it's not as
they were just trying to replicate that fucking heart-stopping attack.
Exactly. No, exactly.
So
I get it.
I mean, I will say this tradition has. I have not read over it in a very long time. It's kind of fallen to like the far back burner for me as far as monk traditions go. But I don't know. It's pretty handy. I feel like it's probably moved this way off the back burner now for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely one of the more interesting classes to play. One of the more interesting subclasses of monk to play, both thematically and on paper.
Yep. All right, Devin, what do you want to rate this one?
I would rate open hand. Open hand. I would go. What am I feeling for open hand? I'm feeling a solid B.
B. All right.
Yeah.
Rob, what about you?
I was going to say B+ again.
I'm gonna have to give this one an A-.
Yeah, no. I'm actually
looking at some of my other ones that I've
rereading over some stuff. Yeah, I think I'd go more B+, A- range. Yeah,
All right,
for sure.
You tell me which one it is, because that's going to affect what the overall is going to be.
I'll give it an A-. I think it's solid. It's a solid. I think it's one of the top tier ones. I mean, from thinking about it more so from just not even just a playing perspective, just like as far as God, I can't talk right now. As far as RP utility, I think it's actually one of the better things. I mean, I think the worst thing about it is tranquility, and that's just free sanctuary.
Yeah.
Like that's fine. Like, I mean, because I think of all the episodes that we've had where it's like we're just spend the whole episode talking.
Yeah.
And just doing RP stuff, and just knowing you're safe during that RP stuff is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that that's the sanctuary thing is kind of neat too. Where like what you said, if you're in an RP session or whatever, and an NPC or something makes a couple, is gonna make a couple rolls to do something against you. Well, if you have sanctuary up, now they have to make a wisdom save, or they have to do that against somebody else, and yeah, it adds a little bit of a layer of extra safety, especially in role playing perspective.
Yeah. I mean, and that's ultimately that's the worst thing about the class is that, and it's not even that bad.
2 A minuses and a B plus would make it an A minus.
Yeah, I would just give that an A minus. It's fair. I think it's up there with Mercy. I think Mercy is just a little, I guess, more useful in general, but I definitely think it's up there with Mercy.
All right.
That was open hand, right?
Yep. So I will read Way of the Sun Soul because I do not have the last one right in front of me.
Oh God, Sun Soul.
Way of the Sun Soul. So, Radiant Sunbolt. Starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can hurl searing bolts of magical radiance. You gain a new attack option that you can use with the attack action. This special attack is a ranged spell attack with a range of 30 feet. You are proficient with it, and you add your dexterity modifier to its attack and damage rolls. Its damage is radiant, and its damage die is a D4. This die changes as you gain monk levels, as shown in your martial arts column of the monk table. When you make the attack action on your turn, and use this special attack as part of it, you can spend 1 key point to make the special attack twice as a bonus action. When you gain the extra attack feature, this special attack can be used for any of the attacks you make as part of that attack action. Okay, so it gives you a 30-foot spell attack that does radiant damage. Searing Arc Strike. At 6th level, you gain the ability to channel your ki into searing waves of energy. Immediately after you take the attack action on your turn, you can spend 2 key points to cast Burning Hands spell as a bonus action. See, even this tradition's getting bonus Burning Hands, sooner.
And as a bonus action instead of a regular action.
You can spend additional key points to cast Burning Hands as a higher level. Each additional key point you spend increases the spell's level by 1. The maximum number of key points, 2 plus any additional points that you can spend on the spell equals half your monk level. So you can spend up to half your monk level in additional points. Searing Sunburst. At 11th level, you gain the ability to create an orb of light that erupts in a devastating explosion. As an action, you magically create an orb and hurl it at a point you choose within 150 feet, where it erupts into a sphere of radiant light for a brief but deadly instant. Each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 2d6 radiant damage. A creature doesn't need to make the save if the creature is behind total cover that is opaque. You can increase the sphere's damage by spending key points. Each point you spend to a maximum of 3 increases the damage by 2d6. So you can have a maximum output of 8d6. So you're essentially it's a fireball. Sun Shield. At 17th level, you become wreathed in luminous magical aura. You shed bright light out to a range of 30 feet, or 30-foot radius, and dim light for an additional 30 feet. You can extinguish or restore the light as a bonus action. If a creature hits you with a melee attack while this light shines, you can use your reaction to deal radiant damage to the creature. The radiant damage equals 5 plus your wisdom modifier.
Hey kids, did you ever want to be a fire elemental?
I mean, yeah,
pretty
this
much.
is like this is the worst
as I was
version
reading
of the.
this, I immediately thought of that arc that you're in, Rob, where like the sun god is turning everything into a desert.
Oh yeah.
This is like the worst version of the sorcerer subclass, the pyromancer, and that's a very shitty subclass. And also, too, it's such a weird class because it wants to make you a ranged attacker, which the monk, everything like the monk's kit is against that. Even though you have ranged options, they're mainly there as afterthoughts.
Or like, if you can't reach something.
Yeah, exactly. But like you have like super fast speed to reach stuff, and then also too, it's just the most key hungry subclass ever because all the damage sucks unless you're amping it to max. Which like for the fireball, you're spending 3 key points or fireball, and on the last one you're spending almost 6 key points. To fucking do. It's like, and by the time you do all that, you're just burning out key points, and then this gets even worse when you realize I think this class came out before they started introducing like the monk wraps that give you extra key points.
But I will say the Searing Sunburst, essentially the fireball spell, right? Except that it runs on a con saving throw, which is arguably normally when you run into things that can make con saves, they can do it by leaps and bounds. But also, they don't even take half damage. They don't even take half damage on a successful save.
No, because it was designed for undead.
Yeah.
It's radiant damage that's queued off con.
I mean, joke's on them. A lot of undead aren't even vulnerable to radiant damage.
I know, it sucks. So. Like wights and liches are, but liches and con saves kind of are. They have their own ways.
And then you have like things like vampires, either radiant or well, I guess technically it has to be sunlight. So I don't even know.
I still say the fastest way to do that is just to cast.
Daylight.
That's an interesting question. If you can cast a spell that causes it to rain, but it's casted by a cleric, and the cleric blesses the spell before casting it, does it rain holy water?
Probably not. Oh, that's an interesting concept. I might be willing to let that happen. Like if one person wants to hold their action to cast Bless, essentially on the druid's casting of like change
water or whatever,
control water, or Then I might actually let that work because it's
just like control water and have make a water dragon. It's just like a holy water dragon.
Yeah, well,
maybe
not that because like
it's kind of like
create water can make
it's kind of like that water dragon jutsu from fucking Naruto, but it's like a holy water dragon jutsu.
Yeah, maybe not that far.
Blessed hurricane. Let's go.
Blessed tsunami.
Let's go.
For when you really need to get all the fucking vampires out of the nest. Alright, so Rob, what would you rate the Sun Soul? And was there anything about this tradition that stood out that you were like, wow, that's really garbage? Or, hey, that's actually really neat?
I don't know. The 17th level doesn't seem extremely impressive. It's like, oh, you shred bright light, and then you can extinguish and restore light as a bonus action. It's like, I could do that with a cantrip. And then it's like, okay, well, when things hit you, you can damage them. Yeah, it's like tieflings have that for free and shit like that. I don't know. I think the 17th level was kind of blah.
Are you saying that this class's capstone is worse than the Bard's capstone?
Well, it's not the capstone of the full monk, but yeah, monk's pretty bad as it is. Yeah,
I will have you know, I would much rather have Sunshield as a Bard capstone than what the Bards have for a capstone.
The Bard's capstone is... But see, the Bard's capstone is only the Bard's capstone because if the Bards had a good capstone, the class would be unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of already are. They can pretty much be built for any situation.
Yeah.
You know? But
you're like, it doesn't say that you could turn this on and off, so your
no, yeah, you can. So
stuff is out completely.
no, if you read it, the light that you give off.
Oh, you can extinguish or restore the light. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was
So
saying that you could I thought it was saying extinguish or restore lights. I didn't
like
realize.
other like torches and things like that.
Yeah. So basically, like you're your own light spell at that point, and then you can damage things that hit you with not a great amount of damage. 5 plus your Wiz mod is like basically 10 damage at max. So unless you get like a book and then maybe it's 11, Yeah, I don't like it. I'm gonna give it a C plus.
C plus from Rob.
I was like, I don't like it. C plus.
All right, Devin, what do you say?
I'm gonna give it. I think the class is just confused, and just doesn't really add anything special to the table. For me personally, I think there's is some RP ability here, but you're also going to be RPing. You're also going to be paying the price for RPing this class because you're going to hate yourself playing this class. I think this is going to. For me, this feels like a solid, just a D plus. It's probably one of the it is probably the last, if not one of the last classes I would play. One of the subclasses I would play in the monk.
So you're giving it a D?
Yeah, I would give it a D.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree. I'll give it a D too. There's nothing that stands out in this subclass or this tradition that's extraordinary, in my opinion. So what would that bring the overall grade down to then, Devin? Because it's a D, and a C plus.
It would be between a D minus or a D plus and a D. I mean, if you just go off the averages of what we picked, it would be a D. But if you weigh the averages on based on what Rob picked, I guess it would be closer to a D plus. So usually when it's like that, I just go with the majority rules.
I'll just give it D. I'll give it a D plus.
All right, it's tied with the 4 elements for being the shittiest class ever.
Yeah. All right, Devin, why don't you finish us off here and read us The Way of the Long Death, which you linked to me.
Which is actually one of my favorite monk classes. One of my favorite monk soul classes. So yeah. I think this one might be a contender for the top spot. Way of the Long Death. Monks of the Way of the Long Death are obsessed with the meaning and mechanics of dying. They capture creatures and prepare elaborate experiments to capture, record, and understand the moments of their demise. Then they use this knowledge to guide their understanding of martial arts, yielding a deadly fighting style. Touch of Death.
Before you continue,
yes, go ahead.
Rob, I think Matilda's yelping.
Yelp. Well, first off, if she wants to write a Yelp review, she needs to do that on her own time.
Yeah. Yeah, Yelp review from Matilda. That's all it is, right, Rob? Yeah. She's not stuck. She's out there spreading her Nazi propaganda to the neighborhood. Just tell her not to wander too far down the street. I think there's a Jewish person who lives down there.
One quick second.
Devin, to fill dead air.
Oh, what's that was?
Damn it! I'm all by myself now. I'm going to fill dead air by myself then. You can go to the Distractions Media website and look for our merch store page.
I'm back,
get Simply Unprofessional merch. Devin,
sorry, I'm back. Yes.
I'm just trying to fill dead air until you get back.
Well, I just pushed all the clothes that I had on my bed on the floor because as soon as it was over, I'm probably diving in the bed.
Yeah,
so I didn't want to deal with that. It is 1 a.m. I might run upstairs and get peanut butter crackers because peanut butter crackers are better than sleep.
Oh man, I do want some of those now. Or like the peanut butter and jelly crackers. Have you had those?
Those are really
good
too. Those are really good. Those are really good.
All right. Anyway,
I could even go for like an Uncrustable, but I don't have any Uncrustable.
Oh yeah, damn it! All these things I want.
You know, they make Uncrustables. Why don't they make like Uncrustable grilled cheeses? This is bullshit.
Right? Like one that you just pop in the microwave or something for like a couple seconds, like
those
microwavable burgers.
We have like the microwavable grilled cheese at work, but it's not like I want like an Uncrustable grilled cheese. Wait, do they make Uncrustable grilled cheese? I'm finding this out right now.
I don't necessarily know that you could. Like, why would you want to eat like? I understand peanut butter.
It comes in like a what you call it thing. Like so they have like the Uncrustable. Yeah, exactly. They do.
But then it's just maybe? It's just the microwavable ones that you have at work.
Yeah, they're good. So they did at one point have grilled cheese Uncrustables. There is a change.org petition to bring back grilled cheese Uncrustables.
Now, I gotta ask this. You know how much I love grilled cheese, but
yes.
If you could only have one or the other for the rest of your life, now I'm not saying you can't have other. I'm not saying that you can't have other food, but if you can only have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or grilled cheese sandwiches moving forward, like if you choose one, you just can't have the other ever again.
Peanut butter and jelly would be the one I would pick.
Same. And I love grilled cheese. Don't get me wrong.
For a completely stupid reason.
Mine is purely comfort.
Mine is purely for convenience. I can make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich faster than I can make a grilled cheese. And usually if I'm eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it's like this time of night and I want something to eat quick.
Yes. And
it's like if I couldn't make that and I was forced to make grilled cheese, then I gotta like make grilled cheese. And that's a whole nother process.
So,
and sometimes you're just too drunk to make grilled cheese.
I think mine is just it boils down to a complete comfort. It's a comfort peanut butter. And
and like I can like finagle out of that. Like I can finagle out of that. I can get like Wisconsin like beer cheese soup and make like and then get like some Wonder Bread croutons and like have like it's cheese soup and croutons, but it tastes like grilled cheese. I can get around that. I can't really get around.
Now you're trying to lawyer the system of this monkey paw. All right. Well, Rob is back.
It's harder to get around. Like I can't like make like peanut butter and jelly soup. That just doesn't sound good.
Why? They have peanut butter and jelly soda, which is awful. By the way,
also not good.
It is gross.
You know they make like on the Uncrustable like sandwich cutter thing where you can like instead of buying Uncrustables you can like just make like your bread and then like you can buy like the press that like just presses the Uncrustables basically.
Yeah, but I always feel like it's never gonna press the same way as when you get the Uncrustables.
I mean, it does. It does.
I don't know. I think it's gonna wear out. Next thing you know, you're tearing your sandwiches in half because the bread's sticking to the little press thing.
I mean, I understand that.
Yeah. Spend the $2 for the Uncrustables.
Wait. They made Uncrustables just bread?
Isn't that just selling you fucking cut bread?
Hold on.
Yo, here's this slab of two pieces of round bread stuck together.
I think they actually legit made this. Like, I hope this is like an internet joke, but I think they actually made Uncrustables just bread. I mean, they definitely made Uncrustable roll-ups. Okay, I think it's just a joke. We're gonna go with it's just a joke. In my head, I'm gonna believe it's just a joke. I'm not gonna keep looking for it to say anything else.
How about out your mouth? We start hearing more about Touch of Death.
Touch of Death. Starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, your study of death allows you to extract vitality from another creature as it nears its demise. When you reduce a creature within 5 feet of you to 0 hit points, you gain temp HP equal to your wisdom modifier plus your monk level. Minimum of 1 temp HP. 6 levels, Hour of Reaping. At 6th level, you gain the ability to unsettle or terrify those around you as an action, for your soul has been touched by the shadows of death. When you take this action, each creature within 30 feet of you that can see you must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you until the end of your next turn. Side note, I now want to make a Way of the Long Death monk named Coolio.
Jesus.
Master of Death, beginning at 11th level, when you use your familiarity with death to escape its grasp. When you reduce, you use your familiarity with death to escape its grasp. When you are reduced to 0 hit points, you can expend 1 key point. No action required to have 1 hit point instead. There's not a once per turn limit on that, by the way. Touch of Long Death. Starting at 17th level, your touch can channel the energy of death into a creature. As an action, you touch one creature within 5 feet of you and expend 1 to 10 key points. The target must make a con saving throw or take 2d10 necrotic damage per key point spent on a fail save, or half as much on a successful one. So at full, that is 20 d10 necrotic. On a con save, or half as much on a successful one. So, ouch.
Damn.
And yeah, that's that. Mastery of Death would be really, really annoying as a DM, just because, like I said, there is no once per turn or once per round clause on that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a real good way to fucking chew through your mid to high level monk's key points.
I mean, true, but if the alternative is death.
Yeah, I mean, I get you.
It's like, oh hey, you about to die. You're hit by a meteor.
I mean, that really would be a kind of a pain in the ass, like constantly popping back up with 1 hit point. It's like, Jesus,
it could be like a running joke. Like you get like monk is hit with like meteor, and like it's just decimated land. He just like his arm sticks out the ground. He's like, I'm still here.
It's literally like playing whack-a-mole at that point.
Yeah. It's like he's got like a little monkey on his shoulder feeding him good berries.
Yeah.
Good berry. Good berry.
Yeah.
So that is the Long Death Monk. For me,
first off, you know what that whole thing, Mastery of Death, that whole thing, you know what that reminds me of? The fight with Trip. Trip literally was down almost every single time. And then, like, you guys would, like, cast, like, oh, here's a healing word for 3. The second he came back to consciousness, the fucking devil would just smack his ass back down.
You know what that fight, like played out reminded me of? Have you ever seen, like, those College Humor, like, spoof videos of that guy playing volleyball?
No.
Where, like, he just kept getting hit with the ball constantly?
No.
Oh man, here. Hold on. This
is our visual aid for the evening, folks. If I play this video, I'm gonna have to mute it real fast for copyright purposes.
I gotta find like the.
Well, while Devin's looking for that, Rob, what would you rate this Long Death tradition?
I'll give it an A-.
What's your favorite part of it?
Popping back up.
Yeah, you fucking would be.
I was like how you guys are like laughing and giggling about my death. Drama. Like, oh, remember that fight where
I mean, in hindsight,
and then eventually died.
In hindsight, it was funny. Now looking
fucking
back,
Scott Sterling. Yes, Scott Sterling, my man.
Devin, what would you rate the Long Death?
I would also probably give it like an A. I'll give it A-.
Well, what would I have to give it to bring it up to an A?
An A+.
I'm not willing to do that. I will also give it an A-. Because it is good. I think it's one of the better fucking traditions. Everything, all 4 things are useful. The fear thing is a little less. I mean, I don't really.
Yeah, that's the worst part about it.
That's the least useful one of the 4. But still, I mean, it's definitely useful in certain situations. And I'm not saying fear is a useless mechanic, but it's definitely an easy one to kind of go around.
Fear is usually really useful when it's multiple enemies, like multiple weaker enemies around you, kind of like trying to fight you.
Oh, excuse me, folks. I have to
this
mute
whole
this.
This whole skit is basically that fight, and then Scott Sterling is Trip.
Which one's Scott Sterling? Number 2?
Number 2.
Is he about to get pegged in the back of the head? No. Jesus. All right. So what, did it hit him and then it went straight to the roof pretty much? Oh yeah. Oh, well, okay. I just love the slow-mo. So for the listeners, this is a visual thing. Devin's having me watch a video of this person. It's men's volleyball, and this guy just keeps getting hit in the face. And it's winning them the game, though. This guy is fucking knocked out. Follow the light, buddy. Follow the light. I love how he doesn't even put his hands up. He like sees it coming. He just like squints his eyes, takes it straight to the face. Now he's facing the other way. Oh God. Okay.
This is basically the whole Trip fight. Like Trip just kept getting back up. We're like, oh, he's down. Let's kill him.
And then he'd get back up confused and be like, guys, what the fuck is happening? And instantly put back down. You outlasted Atticus, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Atticus got turned into a paste by the other devil.
They just kept spiking it on his face. Like,
all right,
and if he picks him up and just...
So we have our top rated here. Our top 3. Oh, hey, it's tied for second and third place overall. So our top rated number 1 spot is the Way of Mercy monk. Made it to our number 1 voted. And then it was a tie. So we're going to need a tiebreaker. It was a tie overall between our second and third place. And that was Way of the Open Hand and Way of the Long Death.
Yep. So number 1's Mercy with the A, Open Hand, and Long Death are
so
tied.
we need a tiebreaker for those 2.
I mean, you were willing to give. I would say you were willing to give Long Death the nod to A. So I would say I would just put that one first.
All right, so Way of the Long Death would be second place. And then Way of the Open Hand made it into our third spot.
And then tied for 4th is Shadow, Way of the Shadow, Way of the Ascended Dragon, Way of the Astral Monk, and Kensei are all tied for 4th.
Yeah.
And then you have Drunken and Cobalt. I would say anything at a B. Anything at B.
Yeah, they were
higher.
all really close. Except,
the only ones that are actual
except
dog
for
shit.
4 Elements and Sun Soul. Which
those are actually dog shit.
Going back to last week's guesses, Devin had guessed that Sun Soul would be on the bottom, or the worst. I guessed that 4 Elements was going to be the worst. And Rob, not knowing what kensei was at the time, said that kensei was going to be the worst. So...
Bold move, Cotton. See how it plays out.
Bold move, Cotton.
All right.
Well, that's our monk traditions rated from S to D, which I'm surprised none of us gave any of them an S.
I mean, that's just how I feel about the monk in general.
Yeah, I don't feel like the monk is a game-breaking class.
It's not. No, it's a...
Because that's where you start getting into the S ranks, is when you have an S rank, those are considered game-breaking.
Your S rank, I'm going to be completely honest, your S rank classes are probably going to be your one of your big 4, your sorcerers, your wizards, your bards, and your cleric. Actually, no, I wouldn't say sorcerer. I would say your wizards.
I don't know,
your
man.
bards.
We've already had one S class ranked.
Barbarian.
It was the Bear Totem Barbarian. We came in as an S rank.
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like that one, as good as that one is. I will give the nod to that as an S class for one reason and one reason only, because if your GM doesn't actively like metagame the situation, then yeah, it's a really strong class. But like usually barbarians don't have the greatest like saves and can just get like removed from the fight. You know what I mean? And there's ways to do so without like, I guess, having to deal with their like resistances. So I mean, like, I'm saying like it's a good class. It's probably one of the only few like truly tanky classes, but I do think there's ways to like in 5e specifically to like skirt around people trying to tank. But like, I'm all for the class. I do enjoy it,
and like
I do enjoy it. I think it's a solid A+. I think it's one of if not the best melee based class. Not necessarily for damage, just in terms of like what its role is to be a barbarian is classically like a tank, and it being a tank, like it fits its role like perfectly. I think the only two other barbarians, the only two I really feel that are true tanks is that, and just as a damage sponge tank, and then you have the ancestral guardians, which is a tank and is like a denial tank, a tank that makes them not want to attack anybody else. But
now, I'm going to say a statement. I want your guys' opinions on if you feel like it is truthful. And that's especially in 5e, everything, regardless of what you're trying to fight for or what you're rooting for or whatever, everything it boils down to everything is so situational.
Yeah.
And it's all about just having an answer for that situation. You know,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Like,
I mean, I think
a lot of people like would say, "Oh, well, in a class versus class fight, you know, a spellcaster would beat a barbarian every day." Well, that depends. If you're in a big, wide open arena and you have space to move around, maybe, because then the barbarian just can't get to you. But if you're in fucking close quarters and you don't have a whole lot of maneuverability or room to move around, and that barbarian gets his hands on you, it's a bad day for the wizard or the spellcaster.
Unless the wizard knows fly, and then you can just kind of.
Well, again, like that's how I did it in the arena fight. But like, if you're fighting in, say, like a room.
Absolutely. I mean, class versus class is always like a silly debate in a weird way, like in a straight up fight, because people like, oh, you know, the wizards or the spellcasters reign supreme over the melee class. Like, yeah, that's true, but like even going back to older editions, if the fighter got a full turn on you, your AC is dog shit, and your health is dog shit. If the fighter got a full turn on you, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
But the issue is, you know, does that get to that? And, you know, that's just kind of how it goes. So it's just different situations. So as far as I'll put it this way, as far as like giving the barbarian an S class, this is how I feel about it. Like whoa,
we can't go back now. We've already recorded and released.
I'm not changing it. I'm just saying this is how I feel. I think I was on the episode. I couldn't articulate the way I wanted to say it. Like, this is the best way to say it. I think as far as being a tank, like as being a tank, that class is like an S class tank for what it is. For being like an HP sponge style tank, that class in the Bear Totem Barbarian is the ultimate. It is deserving of an S class. I do think, however, as just if you're looking at it in like the vacuum of being just a melee class and being a class outside of just being a damage sponge, it doesn't really bring a whole lot to the table. That's just a really useful thing it brings to the table.
I don't know, that elk one that I have with Jax, where as a bonus action you can move through them and then knock them prone and
like
do damage.
because
if you open with that move and knock them prone as
but
your
then
bonus action,
that's true. That is
you
true.
have
That is
advantage
true.
on your
That
attacks
is
while
true.
they're on the ground.
But then you're kind of playing up like, well, you're kind of like actively weighing which, you know what I mean, like the lesser of two evils kind of thing.
Right.
Like yeah,
I mean, it's
that,
again
like,
with the totem barbarian, it's all about
I do feel
choose.
the bear. I do feel like the bear totem barbarian, and this is kind of in the same way I feel about like even the warlock, is that they gave that one, they gave that ability. That ability is so like turned up to the max that picking anything else by default looks almost suboptimal. And that it kind of puts you in a spot where like
Well,
as
in the
a
totem
actual
in the totem path for barbarians, it is.
No, I know. I'm saying, but I mean, like,
mean,
even just as a if you go like another way, like the only, like I said, the only other tank in the barbarian thing that's like comparing to it is like the ancestral guardian tank, but it tanks in a different it tanks in a different way. It's a denial tank more so than like an HP sponge. But other than that, I mean, it is what it is. So it's almost like when you pick a barbarian, it's almost like I feel like the first question. I feel like the first question outside of like if you're playing to be optimal, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're playing to be like in an optimal situation, you're picking a barbarian. You're like, okay, I need to be optimal. I don't feel like you're in your head. The question isn't okay, which subclasses do I want to play? It's okay, what out besides the bear totem barbarian, or what are these other subclasses give me that the bear totem doesn't? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel like that one part of that class is so stacked, and I think it's deserving of like I said, I think it's a solid deserving of like an S in that respect. But like I think if you remove it out of that vacuum, I think it's like you like evaluate it on just RP and everything else that goes with it. I do think it's like an A plus. It's like really a class. It's like an A plus class. I mean, because there's RP things there you can do with it. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. I think it's an A plus. But that's just me. But we're getting like slightly off topic.
Well, we're way off topic.
Right.
And for those of you who want to be on topic, go back and listen to our barbarian rating episodes and tell us what you think.
Right. But yeah, so as far as the monks go, I feel like they're just not really that. Like,
well, they're very middle of the road. That's what it really boils down to.
Yeah, I mean,
none of these really shine. And like you said it best last week when you were like, the better monk classes or subtypes and stuff, you're trying to emulate a different class or a different.
Well, no, I think the better ones are the ones that aren't like. That's kind of like in a way that's true. Like the mercy one is kind of unique in its own way. Open hand's unique in its own way. Long death is unique. And then
we already said a mercy is pretty much the paladin.
Well, yeah. Sorry, mercy is pretty much paladin, but it actually does implement it. Not almost better. It does like its own thing that makes it better, and that's the issue.
Yeah,
they're different. It's different enough to be a thing.
Yeah,
but like you look at like the four elements, or the sun soul, or the cobalt, or or even we rated it pretty high because it has certain like RP ability, but like even the shadow, it's like you're just trying to be another class. You're just literally just trying to implement another class.
Yeah,
and at that point, you just might as well play the other class. Because that, ironically enough, that class can implement.
But at the same time,
the monk can implement that class.
Well, that's the thing is at the same time. So, like, yeah, you have some of these subclasses that are emulating and showing a lot of similarities to other classes. But at the same time, overall, I mean, a monk, even by its base core things that it gets as a class, I mean, it still makes it stand out and unique enough to enjoy playing. I mean,
I do think
because you can't be a paladin and be a monk.
Absolutely,
you know. What I mean?
I just think the monk does fit into that like second class citizen of class.
I feel like it's it's kind of like a barbarian. I love barbarians. Okay, but at the same time, barbarians aren't meant to be in every group makeup.
Well, yeah. Well, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, or if you only had to fill, like, you had like, okay, hey, you're running a extremely hard campaign, right? You're running a super hard campaign. There's only going to be 4 of you. You have to fill 4 slots, right? I definitely think you could look at, and this is where I go back to like the bear totem issue for a second, but not issue. This is the bear totem. You're like, okay, for your melee, you're looking at either a bear totem, more than likely, or a fighter of some type. You're looking at one of those two. You're looking at
paladin.
Or a paladin.
Or I mean, we would be hard pressed to say now, and I would not have thought this before, but having played in several sessions with this class, even an artificer, they have been proven to be very tanky.
Yeah. Absolutely to a degree. Yeah.
But again, I think it really all boils down to group makeup,
look down
whether
to
or not you
and then
think
you're
a
looking
monk
at
would
either
fit.
you're going to have a cleric or a druid. I would say realistically a cleric or a druid, and then in the most optimal sense, a wizard or a
sorcerer.
Bard. A wizard or a bard. More so even than a sorcerer. A wizard or a bard. Now, if you want to go like from like S tier to like A plus tier, you could fill in for a sorcerer. You could fill in for all those there. But I do think like in the upper echelons of classes, your upper echelons are literally of the 4 classes, your upper echelons are like I would find as a DM, I would say if you have 4 experienced players as a DM, you would be extremely hard pressed to like find a way to beat a group of just a bard, a druid, a cleric, and a wizard. That would be one of the most hardest groups to like prep for if all the players like knew
magic shell.
Knew their shit. Well, no, that's the thing. Yeah. Like, well, no, to a degree, but that's the thing though. Like, clerics and druids can fuck shit up without it. So can bards. Like, that's the thing. Like, they're not. It's not like it's not their shtick. Like, but they're.
Well,
they're totally
I can say a bard could feasibly hold its own in melee. A cleric could. I don't see a druid holding their own in melee unless they're wild shaped.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, but is anti-magic shell does it cancel out wild shape? I don't think it does.
Probably.
I think
I feel like it's a magical effect.
Ability. Let me see. Hold on a second.
But I mean, yeah, once you start throwing it down like anti-magic shell, or if you start getting like a beholder involved, where he's like essentially turning off magic, then that group's really going to fall heavily onto the cleric and the bard to get them through their issues.
Right. But then also too, if everything your DM is throwing at you is just anti-magic shell, it's the DM is
right. They're one-trick ponying the group to try to get a rise out of them.
Exactly. So I mean, but just like in like your standard like hard campaign.
Now I will say
that's the 4 people you're going up against.
That's going to be that group makeup would be really good, especially if they knew what they were getting into.
If they knew what they're getting into, or they all just understood their character. They all understood their character very well. They understood the limitations of what they each can do. They understand how they can work with each other. That would be one of the hardest group makeups to legitimately do it. We joked about it before, but it would kind of be the same thing. Just a party of clerics. Just a party of like 4 fucking clerics of different domains. Like that would also be an extremely hard group to prep for, because you can have 4 clerics that are vastly different based on their domains and their domain spells.
Yeah.
Like you could have an arcane cleric that looks like a wizard, like that would play like a wizard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be almost indistinguishable from a wizard. You could have it's kind of the same thing with a wizard, but I mean the wizards have access to all their spells and don't really give up spells, like they used to when picking like different focuses. But like the bards all kind of play different. But I mean outside of that, like bards and. I mean, druids druids are still D8s, so they can still, like, druids are still a D8, they're still in there, they still kind of, I think druids could probably still hang, even, like, in an anti-magic field, to a degree. I'm not saying, because they still have to, usually would roll somewhere, one way, shape, or form, so I think they could be alright. I'm not saying it would be their best deal, but I think they could. But other than that, I mean, yeah, like I said, unless your DM is just literally dropping anti-magic field on you every single thing, but then you're that's more of a question of your DM just being like, look, dude, like,
I'm tired of this party's bullshit.
Yeah, that's basically more of that's what that is, or like the DM just doesn't know how to approach planning for that group, so he's just like, oh, well, this beats them, so this every single week. So every like town guard has anti-magic feel like a beat of anti-magic feel, which also would be like a really dope ass like town guard, by the way, Webby. So take notes of that. Like a town guard that
I already
knows,
have a prison that's
no. I mean like town guards that carry like you know how like they have like those pearl necklaces of like spells and shit.
Oh yeah.
There's these town guards that carry those and like they throw them on the ground and make like anti-magic like domes, like localized anti-magic domes, because they know they're not good enough to beat like adventurers with magic, but like when it comes to like the marshals, it's like, yeah, we got this.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh shit, just drop that in the ground and then you're forcing your group to fight. But that's a separate issue for another day. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think those are going to be like the nuances. You get onto even like the warlock. I mean, like the warlock is, I think, fits in like that A as a class, fits in like that high B A tier kind of class, where like if you're only had 4 spots to fill in your group and somebody picked a warlock for it, depending on what they were doing with the warlock, you wouldn't really question it. Monk,
I will say this: apparently, a 1 to 3 level dip into warlock is S tier. Fucking bunch of useless fucking hoes. Mistreating my warlock classes.
I mean, a bard dipping warlock is the greatest thing ever, only because the bard's capstone blows dick. Which is, yeah, fine. But, so yeah, I mean, losing out on that, you lose out on one 9th level spell, but that's not the end of the world. Because you gain the strongest cantrip in the game. So
you don't even lose out on a 9th level spell, man. All you want to do is dip 2 levels into something as a bard. You don't want to dip any more than that, because you get your last magical secrets at 18.
Right, I know, but if you want to give it the magical secrets for the warlock, the actual pact, like your pact features at 3,
you can take a feat to gain a pact feature.
You can. You won't get the same stuff, but I mean, you can go either way with it. So if you want to do that, you can. However you want to do it, you can choose to dump the 3, or you can choose to just go 2 in the feed. Either way, it's end like leaps and bounds ahead of, because what you gain is like insane.
Yeah.
The warlock might as well just be 3 levels. It might as well just be a 3-level class.
No, I'm tired of people fucking using warlock like that.
Okay, Webby, I've played multiple warlocks that have all been straight classed. I understand what you're saying.
And they're perfectly fine that way.
I agree with you. They are, and I understand what you're saying, but I also
need to stop treating them warlocks like hookers.
I mean, they kind of are though. They just make pacts with other beings for power. So like that's kind of the whole shtick of the warlock class. If you really think about it from like an outside looking in, the warlock's whole shtick is they make pacts with powerful beings.
So now there's this warlock who's making this pact with this big fucking entity to get all of its power, and now here comes like the little level fucking 6 sorcerer who takes 2 level.
He's just like, warlock, yo, hey, you know what?
And then that warlock's like, well, now I know how that fucking feels.
Well, no, exactly. Or you could look at it as the sorcerer looking at the warlock, going, "Hey, you know that's a valuable piece of power." And then he makes the same pack, making himself into a warlock. But I mean, he's still by schooling and by teaching a sorcerer, so he doesn't pursue it too much.
I don't like any of it.
You don't have to like it, but it is what it is.
It's dumb. Anybody out there,
blame them for making Eldritch Blast so powerful and making it exclusive to the warlock class.
Hey.
Like, and it also helps that bards don't have like the greatest damaging cantrip in the world.
You know what? There's feats that you can use to acquire that cantrip, and there's feats that you can use or acquire to buff up that cantrip to be as good as a warlock.
Now you're spending 2 feet, so you're
who the fuck cares? That's better than fucking dipping levels into warlock.
No,
I hate people who dip level into warlocks. They can all.
What if people want to dip? What if a fighter wants to dip into barbarian for the totem, the bear totem?
I mean, why?
I'm just asking. Like,
He can't. I don't think he can wear armor while raging.
I mean, it's fine. Doesn't matter.
So now you're gonna have a fighter going around with no armor. You're just gonna bank off the unarmored defense of the barbarian.
Well, if you're raging with unarmored defense on, and you have bear totem, I mean, you're just taking damage in a different way. I mean,
I do not like where this conversation is heading.
All I'm saying is,
I hear what you're saying.
All I'm saying is,
it's not as common as people.
It's not as common. It's not as common. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The warlock is the most abused class and used class in D&D.
Yes,
but it's not. But if you have a charisma-based casting class, which I mean, or a charisma-based class, which there are a good chunk of them: the paladin, the sorcerer, the fucking bard, all really powerful classes that are also charisma that only get better by taking a dip in warlock. Like, it is what it is. It sucks. Like, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it either, but it is what it is. All right. Are we
We've hit the hour and 20 mark, people.
All right, cool.
Rob, you've been awfully quiet. Do you have anything to say about what we've been talking about?
Not really.
You don't have anything to say about people abusing warlocks?
I have never done such a thing.
Good. Are you being honest?
Yeah.
Alright, good.
I've never dipped into warlock.
Alright. Well, we're going to try to wrap things up here. Do we have a science corner this week with Rob?
No, my science license has been revoked because I don't believe that water has taste. So
yeah, here. Okay, SU listeners, I want to hear your opinions on this. Rob says water does not have a taste.
Water definitely has a taste.
Okay, that's like the fourth person who's on my side, Rob. You can't argue with the masses.
I mean, also, if you want to take it from Healthline,
more scientific research.
Water does have a taste. It is based on the minerals that are added to it. Is based on the minerals that are added to it, the location it's coming from, and the way it's bottled. That hits one of your 5 major taste qualities. So we all have 5 major taste receptors in our mouth. We have one that tastes bitter, one that tastes sweet, sour, salty, and umami. Which umami, for people who don't know, it's kind of like almost. It's like that. It's like that flavor you get from like mushrooms or like soy sauce, like this, like that almost like meaty flavor. That's what umami is. So we different how water is bottled, the additives to it, things like that is what at the end of the day ultimately makes your hit your different receptors in different ways that makes water taste differently. All I know is Dasani tastes like ass.
You and Rob both agree on that. Rob also thinks Dasani he says it's very salty.
Yeah, because they add stuff to it, which you just said. It depends on what's in it.
It depends on what's naturally added. It could be like, but I mean,
water naturally has minerals in it.
Like if you get like spring water or you get well water, it's going to taste differently. They're both not added.
I already told you the other night, if you purify water down to its basest, purest form, which is I think like deionized water or some shit, where they literally remove everything from it.
Yeah.
Then yes,
it theoretically should all taste just like spit. It should just taste like water.
It'll taste like what's in your mouth.
Yeah. So but
that's if you take water and you process it down to remove all of those.
We're talking just like if you went to the store and bought like 8 different types of bottled water, and started like drinking them. Every one of those bottled waters would taste differently, or at least to me, they taste vastly different. And I have strong opinions on my bottled water.
I do too.
Good job. Like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, Aquafina and Dasani, disgusting. Get out of here. Aquafina tastes like cancer, and Dasani tastes like ass.
So, now that we've had a science corner with Devin, do we have a getting real with Rob life advice?
Don't drink rainwater.
You ever wonder if you open your mouth in the nuclear rain, will it taste like cinnamon? Anyway, we'll end on that boneless joke. Rob, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Confessor_X and on Twitch at twitch.tv/ConfessorX.
And Devin, where can people find you on the internet?
You guys can find me on Twitter at DMP_Pookie. You can find me on Twitch at Missity3. And as always, you can find me on eBay looking for those just bread Uncrustables.
Oh, God. And as always, everybody, you could follow me on Twitter at JaxForestWalker, all one word, on Twitch at DMWebby, and on eBay at trying to fill those just bread Uncrustables with something like peanut butter and jelly to make them normal Uncrustables.
What the fuck is an Uncrustable?
An Uncrustable? You've never had Uncrustables? We're getting Uncrustables next time we order groceries.
I don't think it sounds very unappealing.
No, it's good. It's peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you put in the freezer, and then when you think you're ready for a snack, you pull one out, and you just leave it on your desk for like 5 minutes, and then you start eating it, and it's frozen peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's
actually pretty good.
It's phenomenal.
It's awful.
It's phenomenal.
No, it's actually pretty good. But sidebar, anyone remember those, those, and this was like my weird thing, they still make them now, but anyone remember
Dunkaroos?
Those, they make those now too. But no, like the Smucker Goober, where it's like the peanut butter and the jelly in one jar.
Yes, I do remember that being a thing. I don't think they do them
sounds
now.
terrible.
And I fucking hated that because it was always weird to me. I was like, it would always it would always mix and it's theoretically it's the same thing, but I was like, I hated it. I hated everything about it. I couldn't eat it.
Yeah.
Also, they make.
See, I'm the type of person.
They make Reese's peanut butter sauce. They make Reese's peanut butter, but it's called peanut butter sauce because I'm pretty sure it has a bunch of fuck ton of sugar in it that regular peanut butter does not have. Actually, It doesn't. So what I'm saying is, if you like Reese's peanut butter, you can buy a big ass tub of Reese's peanut butter on Amazon. A 4.5 pound tub to be precise for $15.99.
Jesus.
So
you know what I used to like? Butter. They used to have that. It was kind of like a chocolate syrup, but it was Reese's. And then you put it on top of ice cream, and then it hardens into a shell. Have you ever had that? That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Here,
anyway, do you not like jelly, Rob? Do you not like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
I mean, jelly. I like it somewhat. I don't I'll put a little bit of jelly on a sandwich sometimes. But
then you might love Uncrustables. Then yes, that exactly.
They don't put a lot of jelly in.
Yeah, Uncrustables. It's very minimal what they put into it, but it's very good. It's hard to explain.
I usually do peanut butter and marshmallow fluff.
I'm usually the same way.
Yeah,
but
that's a fluff on nutter, but I mean, that's fine.
But we'll get a thing of Uncrustables and see what you like or see what you say, because they sell them. I think there's strawberry and grape flavor.
I think the most cursed thing ever though was the smooth peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I don't know. The peanut butter and jelly soda was pretty cursed.
That was gross.
This is beyond cursed. And I love Emmy. I love Emmy. That's my girl.
And honestly, bacon flavored soda, not good.
But she made this.
What is that? Did she harden the peanut butter and jelly?
No, she made it's almost like Jell-O style flavor profiles of the.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, it's smooth. It's weird, real weird.
Yeah, I'm good. Anyway, that's where you can find us. And thank you for listening and hanging out with us. We love you. Be safe and fuck Booster Gold.
Fuck Booster Gold and bone apple teeth.
I'm a stick with grilled cheese.
Hashtag never forget the spaghetti.
Never forget the spaghetti.
Oh, well, Rob, this should be an easy question for you then. if for the rest of your life, and you can have other types of foods as well, but you just have to choose. You can either have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or grilled cheese sandwiches, but if you choose one, you cannot ever have the other.
Grilled cheese.
See, I don't know. I was
Me and
gonna
Webby
go
feel
there,
the same way about. I'm about to go eat a peanut butter jelly sandwich right now. We've been talking about it too much.
Oh, well, then the next time I'm making grilled cheese, you can make yourself a peanut butter jelly sandwich. How about that?
Really? You want to start throwing threats around? Well, two can play this game. I got a bat. Get out here.